This podcast will talk about the standards-based grading program at the Global Learning Collaborative. The Global Learning Collaborative, we have certain beliefs. Our underlying philosophy regarding standards-based grading, which is directly connected to our beliefs about teaching and learning, includes the following. We hold certain expectations for what students need to learn during their time at the Global Learning Collaborative. This includes things they need to know and things they need to be able to do in order to achieve the graduation requirements. These expectations are outlined in our standards. Standards come from the national level, state level, the New York City level, our ISSN network, and the school level. We believe that it is our job as educators to hold every student responsible for meeting these standards. We also believe that it is our duty to give meaningful feedback to students along the way so they know how far along they've gotten towards achieving those goals. Part 1 of our vision regarding standards-based learning is to be very clear with students about what is expected of them. To that end, at the beginning of every unit and every semester course, students will receive a table of standards. This will clearly outline the New York State standards, the graduate portfolio standards, and any specific standards from a certain department or teacher. We have just vaguely outlined an example here, including some standards from the English class. You will notice that next to each standard is a column in which the date and method that student used to demonstrate mastery will be recorded. You'll also notice there are several of these columns available. We believe it is critical that students have multiple opportunities to demonstrate mastery of every standard. Part 2 of our vision is to give regular and meaningful feedback to the students, and then to support their work as they work towards achieving progress towards graduation. To that end, when students receive feedback on an assessment, maybe it's a test or a project, they will not only get information on how well they did, but they will get specific feedback on whether or not they were able to achieve demonstration of mastery of certain standards. This is an example of a cover page that might come with a math test. You can see that there were 9 standards addressed on the test. The teacher has explained on what questions and problem set each standard was addressed, and then the teacher has filled in whether or not the student was able to demonstrate mastery of each standard. Along with this cover sheet, the student will receive an email. In this email, the teacher will outline those standards which were addressed, as well as what will need to happen with the ones that were not yet met. The follow-up for this kind of response will be to set up an appointment with the teacher for one-on-one tutoring, follow-up support, and any other work that the student needs in order to be able to demonstrate mastery of the topic. You'll also notice that the teacher has left open the option of alternative demonstration of mastery. The student will not necessarily need to retake the same test, but might have another method that he or she would choose to demonstrate what they've learned. The third part of our vision includes sharing information with parents and the rest of the community in terms of a report card. Our report cards will be standards-based. The online standards bank, where every teacher will include standards for every course, will be easily accessible through our online portal. When parents receive a report card, they will not see grades, but they will see a list of those standards for which the student has demonstrated mastery and those for which the student has not yet done so. These are just some examples of what you might see on a report card. In addition to the standards mastery, teachers will include narrative comments. We understand that in addition to the work towards mastery on particular standards, part of our work in the Global Learning Collaborative is to encourage good work habits, to develop the habits of mind that will be necessary to be successful in college or after high school, and to achieve all the elements of the graduate profile. These narrative comments might address some of the work in those areas. The narrative comments also serve as an opportunity for the teacher to reach out and explain certain ways that he or she hopes students will be able to continue to find success. You'll notice that this student has not yet met every standard in any of these 3 courses. This is likely to happen on most report cards until the very end of the semester, when it would be reasonable that a student has met every standard expected. In this program for standards-based learning at the Global Learning Collaborative, everyone will have a role. Teachers will need to be very clear about what are the standards and expectations in their class, which, as mentioned already, will be available in the online standards bank. Teachers will also require several opportunities for students to demonstrate that they've learned each and every standard. Students will keep track of their own progress along with the teacher on their tables, and will also be required to pursue mastery in any areas in which they are falling behind. Students will also work to revise and redeem their work whenever they are unable to demonstrate mastery on a certain assessment. Students with their project-based mentors will be completing independent and small group projects where they can continue to demonstrate mastery in alternative ways. Parents, guardians, families, and other supporters can work with the students to make sure that they understand how far along the continuum they've gotten towards achieving success on any certain course. As a community, it will be critical that we all work to create an environment that supports real learning opportunities for students that are directly tied to the standards and expectations for every course. In short, it is critical that our schools support the idea that students cannot choose to fail and that it is our job to make sure they are successful.